So black women, wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about court, family court, custody, visitation, and why on a lot of these lives you hear black males always talking about why they don't want to have to be in a position to go to court to have the so-called white man tell them what to do and have white people in their business. Okay, first off, depending on what state you live in, custody is pretty much unspoken, without documentation, given to both parents, right? Until one of the parents does something that makes the other parent go to family court. So let's say you do not have a visitation order, but you just have co-parenting with the father or whatever. He takes the child but does not bring the child back on time and then refuses to bring the child. Because neither parent has gone to court to establish custody or visitation, right? Both of you have equal rights under the law as far as the police go only. All right? So if you call the cops and you say, oh, he has taken my child, he's kidnapped my child, the first thing the police are going to say is, do you have a custody order or a visitation order? When you say no, they're going to refer you to court. Okay? Now, the way to get out of going to court to not have an order, whether it's custody or visitation, put in your name in order to have complete custodial rights over your child, is to not put the father's name on the child's birth certificate and keep the child in your own last name. Officially, every state recognizes an absent father. Absent fathers have no rights. They have to first establish paternity and then visitation and or custody, whatever they want to do, right? So that's for you to understand. Now, when you go to court to get custody, there are like 5 or 7 different ways to get custody. And most times, the judge will give the parents 50-50 or 49-51. Okay? Very rarely, black parents, especially when the father is not a legitimate father where he has an education, he has a decent working job, making a decent amount of money, will they not get 50-50? So basically what I'm saying is, if the father is a person who has, let's say he got a bachelor's degree, he graduated from high school, he has a decent job, he has his own apartment, he's actually responsible, etc., etc., they may get 50-50. Because the judge is going to look at all of that, because even though these black males tell you the courts are in favor of the women, that's not true. This is a legal body, okay? This is a courthouse. They look at what is in the best interest of the child, not mother versus father. Never believe that, all right? So if the father is just working, but he's had some hiccups in life or whatever, most times he'll get 49 and the mother will get 51. And the courts will do that because who's been taking care of the child all this time? Who's been the primary child care provider? Who has been the primary breadwinner, shelter provider, etc.? That is why the courts do that. Now, however, right, when you get a visitation order and you get and/or custody order, right, this is a legal agreement. This is the real reason why these dudes don't like to go to court, all right? So I'm going to explain the whole secret to y'all, because I went through this in my own life. When you have a real fucking order, and it doesn't matter if you move from state to state, as long as you got that order and something happens, they could pull that shit up in the computer in any state you're in to verify what you're saying. And they could literally lock that other parent up for life or for kidnapping, depending on what state you're in. And when you're in Republican states, it is the worst for parents that do the wrong thing by their kids, especially when you have an order of custody or an order of visitation. I'm going to go into it, right? It's 2 things that happen. So when you get that order, you have to abide by that shit. If you violate that order in any way, not only can you be imprisoned, but you can also have your parental rights taken from you. That's the real reason why they don't want to go to court and they don't want orders. Because if they violate or they don't live up to those orders, the judge can say delinquent parent, neglectful parent. They do not deserve the right to visitation. They do not deserve the right to custody. A judge could literally do that. And if you send your child on visitation with the father and they disappear, the judge can order an arrest for that parent and charge that parent with kidnapping. They know that. That's the reason why they're always trying to keep you from going to court, and why they don't go to court and fight for visitation or fight for custody of their kids. Because they know once they put that foot forward, they can't backtrack. They can't go, oh, I really didn't want real custody for my kid. I just wanted to fuck with my child's mother, make her life miserable. Because literally, I had a husband that said he would make my life miserable for the rest of my life until my kids got older. That didn't happen though, because I just got a woman attorney. I gotta, listening to y'all, I say dumb shit like that. But I got a real good woman attorney, and she whooped their ass in court, right? So not only was I able to leave the state I was in at the time, but I was also given full custody, and he only got visitation. Yep. And then when he left the state that we were both in, I went to another state. He went to Hawaii, right? Now, not only did he have to pay for the expenses of the children to fly to Hawaii, but he also had to do all of that only within the time he was allotted. Now, when the kids got older, of course, I would let them stay almost the whole summer. Not the whole summer, but almost, right? Because Hawaii is fucking beautiful. So, but this is the issue they have with court. Because it's not that court gives the mother more power or favors the mother. It's because they know they're not responsible enough to do everything those orders entail and that dictate that they have to do and that they must comply with. They know they're going to always fuck up. They know they're not going to do the right thing. So arguing with you back and forth is what they like to do, because they could get over on you. They could bully you. They could do whatever they want to do to you. There's no consequence. But if you have a court order and you take my kid and you don't come back to the next day or the next day after that, I'm going to go file a violation of a visitation order, and I'm going to call the police and make a police report. A warrant is going out for your motherfucking arrest. And they're going to start checking the CCTVs all over the area, because fucking with children, the courts take very seriously, especially when there's orders involved. And they will not hesitate to send a marshal after that other parent's ass. Which is why they're always like, oh no, you should never go to court. Don't disrespect me like that. You doing wrong to the black male. No, when you go to court, you're protecting yourself, black women, and you're protecting your children. Because these motherfuckers will take your kids and kill your kids. You know that. They have done this. They will take your kids and rape your daughters, and sometimes the sons, but most times, 99.9% of the time, raping your daughters. If you could only see half of the cases, well, you can, it's public information. If you go into like Child Protective Services for every state and look at the children who had court orders where the fathers have taken their lives and sexually violated them first, it's going to make your head spin. All the more reason why when we older women tell you, leave these black males alone, they are mentally conquered. Do you understand me? They're not going to treat you right. They're not going to do anything good by you. They're not going to take care of their kids. They're going to be a fucking problem. And I'm going to tell you another secret. Even the ones that come online and profess to be so great, they're so articulate, they could talk you out of your drawers and make you feel like, oh, I should still have faith in black males. They're still fucked up too, in a way too. It is every one of them, y'all. It is not some, it is every one of them. Some may be 50% fucked up, 70, 80, 99.9. They all have problems somewhere, some way, and somehow. So the best thing to do, if you want them all to get up to speed and stop being fucking assholes forever, you have to leave them alone completely. You ever heard that old saying, you don't miss what you got until it's gone? And you don't appreciate what you have until you don't have it no more? That's the lesson they need to learn. Because they take black women for granted. Do you hear how disrespectful they are on everybody's live? Which is why I don't like when the black women do the lives and always include the black males, because they always only come up to undermine the conversation, disrespect the black women, call them names, insult them, and tarnish their image in all of society. They do this strategically. You know, I know y'all never listen to me, right? Because you swear to God, I don't know what I'm talking about. And it is like a trend, or it's just like this mental block now that a lot of black women have that are in their 20s, 30s, or early 40s, where they do this trend thing like they're in high school and belong to like a huge clique online, right? That's not beneficial to y'all at all. It's not. It really isn't. It's really a form of self, how can I put it? Like, not like really self-harm, but self-sabotage. Because you're not growing. You're not growing. Your conversation is very much, it's stagnant. Because it's limited. And if you had different ranges of women, young to the youngest to the oldest, you would have a better platform. You would have better information. You would have a better conversation, a better powwow, so to speak. But this shit is not it. And when you're bringing these dudes up here to like prove you're the smartest woman in the room, and you're going to try to psychoanalyze what these dudes are saying and try to make them feel bad about what they mean and how they said it and what they didn't do, it's useless. Because the majority of people don't read dark psychology. They don't understand the strategies of manipulation. They don't understand the strategies of thought process into action, consequence, or delayed deliverance. They don't understand any of that. You would, if you read the book Dark Psychology by William Cooper, you would understand the mental psyops, real psyops, from like what the military would kind of like impose on any territory that they're getting ready to invade. The government literally does that to us every day online, bombarding us with propaganda, misinformation, and just straight stereotypical bullshit. And when you don't understand what is happening, you fall for it every time. And y'all show you don't know what's happening, and you fall for it every day, because every time certain content creators go live, you fiend for the bullshit that you know is going to happen. The argument and the back and forth with the black dudes where there's never anything learned. It's just the same one-trick pony time and time again of, she's talking about this, then the women come in and they go along with it. It's like everybody's placating the host. Then the host doesn't like that, so they bring up somebody who's opposite their opinion, and then it's a fight. And then the fight just becomes all this type of back and forth with nothing learned, nothing gained, and a whole waste of time and dead brain cells. You got to get comfortable with understanding that conversation should be boring, not entertaining, because it is not something that is to entertain you. Conversation is about intellect. It is about people growing as they converse with one another. You don't even get angry, because if you don't understand something, that is literally the time when you're supposed to open up whatever it is you need, a dictionary, thesaurus, an almanac, an encyclopedia, Google, AI, whatever, to get clarity on whatever it is you're stuck on before you go forward. That's what you're supposed to do. But what's happening is just like, it's this cortisol, dopamine thing that's going on in these conversations where people are getting stressed out. The ones that can't get their point across, they're getting frustration, because it happened to me, and that's why I stopped, right? And then you have the ones that get high off of the argument and love to fight. Those are the dopamine junkies, right? And it's all a constant all the time. And guess what? It gets black people nowhere. Because the women that still want to be male lovers and male identified and black male worshipers, you never going to say anything to change them until something happens to them where they change themselves. So you are literally wasting your time. Seriously. And so the conversations that should be had between women who are like-minded, where those of us that understand, like, shit is going to get hard for black women. So if we're talking about why they're scared about going to court, we should have conversations about going to court, knowing the laws of your state for all the courts: family court, criminal court, civil court, surrogate court, Supreme Court. You need to appeals court. You need to know all that shit. Okay? You need to know that, so that whatever happens in your life, you know what court to go to, and you need to know where you can go for representation, or at least court clerk help from the court, so that you could process whatever paperwork you need. So, I mean, we need to be having those conversations. We also need to have the conversation about coming together, developing like community resources for black women, because there are several black women out here trying to put together community resources for black women to avoid eviction with rent arrears help, food when you need food and you have nowhere to go, how to get that, other black women to help you shop. There's even organizations where, there was a lady on TikTok the other day, I believe I subscribed to her, I have to check and find out, where she has an organization where she literally buys food for people throughout the month, depending on their situation. And it's with Walmart, I believe it is. She'll buy food and you just go either pick it up or they deliver it to your house. We need more black women to do that, to take care of black women and children. We need to get online and find all of the black women who have school curriculums online and who literally have black homeschools licensed and, under their name, and have been giving out their curriculum and taking part in those curriculums for years. There are communities of that online. But this is the type of shit that should be talked about that's not, because y'all are spending all your time talking about dumbass fucking black males all day, all the time, and not in ways that help black women. Like, if we're going to take sections of life where things really affect us when dealing with them, let's have those conversations without the black males. Because all they're going to do is stymie the conversation and derail it and redirect it. You don't need that. Like what I heard on the live today with the custody, it's like it was a lot of wrong information there, but that happens, right? But between that, the bottom line is, black women, if you want to take control over your life and your children's life, and you do not want the back and forth and the bullshit with these dudes, you have to take them to court or leave them 100% completely alone. Move, leave the state, get the fuck away from them, where they cannot contact you. It's too difficult to get to you, so they give up and they stop. Do one or the other. Stop playing with them. You have to get out of the mindset of thinking that, it's entertaining or you really need them in your life, because that shit is going to hinder you and it's going to hurt you in the end. It really is, because you really don't know who you're fucking dealing with. These dudes could be one way for a few years, a day or a week, and then the next thing you know, they snap, they kill you and your kids, or do something else horrific to y'all. I mean, maybe y'all need to really start looking at the videos on YouTube of the channels of the black femicide and really see what they're doing to black women and children. You have the channel Gritty. That is horrible, the things you see on there. You also have American Crimes, Black Girl Unlost. There's so many. Leah Gordon. It's so many, right? But it speaks to what happens to black women every day. Every day. But you're not in tune with that because you're on TikTok talking about bullshit for the majority of the time. And I'm done. I just really would like to see the day when black women come on here, and even though TikTok is supposed to be for entertainment, we start sliding in serious shit that deals with our socioeconomic situation, our demographic situation, our educational situation, our employment situation, and our childcare situation. Because the shit that's going to affect us is going to affect us. And those black males, we're arguing and all this stupid shit with all these lives on every day doing that with them, they're not going to help us. They're not. You've seen that firsthand not too long ago where the black woman was evicted living in her car with her mother and her children, and 2 of her kids died because the male was so unreliable. And let me just say this to y'all. If you're ever in that situation, please go to social service and Catholic charities and get any help you can get to get the fuck out of state. Mind you, I said get out of state. Because even though states have services for in-state situations or personal crisis, they also have special monies put aside for residents that want to relocate to another state. And I think I have said this many times. No, only on YouTube I've said this. Whenever you need social services information, relocation information to another state, you need to know what is going on in that other state as far as welfare is concerned, social services, so that you know how to get there, where to go, who to call to get information to help you be housed, employed, provide childcare, transportation. You need to always go on the federal website for every state in this country. That is www.usa.gov. On that website, you can drop down the social services department to every state in this country. In addition to that, www.usa.gov, it also has home ownership on there, grant money information, community resources, HUD information, FHA information, and what's that other one? Give me a minute. It's another one that lets people buy houses in like rural areas where really cheap. What the hell is it? It's not HUD. Oh my God. FHA loans, FHA.gov. FHA houses that are literally owned by the government, where they're specifically in certain areas, like I think it's like, 40 miles outside the city limits or something like that, where it's technically deemed rural, and you can buy a home from the government, which is significantly cheaper than regular homes. All of that shit is on USA.gov, USA.gov. Anytime you need to leave, you need to go to another state, that's what you do. You need to find farmers that are selling food that is like slightly bruised but still good. You know, all those little organizations that put bruised food in a box and send them to people for free or very, very seriously discounted so that you have extra food coming to your house. All that is on that website. Everything federally linked is on that website. So if you need to find something through agricultural department, anything that is covered federally, because that's the highest level of government in this country, it's all on that website. And you could drop the menu and pick any state and find out everything you need to find out. Those are the kind of conversations we should be having on TikTok, okay? Not that relationship shit is getting me so crazy. Anyway, I don't know what else to tell y'all, but I do know this. If we are going to communicate, we really need to seriously be about the black women's sisterhood and stop worrying about black males altogether. I personally don't think they need to be included in any lives black women have. I think that eventually black women need to put their channels on private and only have them for black women and do the lives that way. Because if it's really about us taking care of each other, then you got to start the complete isolation from them. Otherwise, you ain't never going to make no progress. That's my opinion.